it going?
Yeah. Well, happy Friday, first of all.
Happy Friday to you.
Let's take the win where we can.
Okay.
Life's been a little rocky these days, but I'm okay today. I'm with you, so that feels really good.
Yes, I'm very happy about it. I've been happy. I literally Monday morning, I'm like, this is the week.
It's the happy spot for my...
It's the week.
Actually, it very much ended up being, it's been a bit of a week, but it's okay because it's coming to a close and we've canceled all of our weekend plans just so we can hunker down and storm through the storm. So yeah, everything's okay.
Okay.
That's honest.
No, it'll be okay. My dad, man of great wisdom,
I'm sure,
said everything will be okay or it won't.
So true.
And you have a 50-50 chance.
It's so true, right?
And those are bad odds.
Yeah, no, it feels like yesterday I'd have been like, well, I guess I know which place we're in, but I don't know. It's Friday and I'm feeling more optimistic and I'm allowed to feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but life sometimes it's just...
You know what I've really been thinking about though lately?
What?
We're going to get some gold. This is gold. No, I've been thinking about, so I'm a huge believer in feeling your feelings, right? And experiencing them. We might have talked about this last time because we're so smart. We talk about smart things all the time.
We do feel. We give our feelings. Gives ourselves permission.
Yeah. And like giving yourself permission. And I feel like there's like so much guilt because I actually had a conversation with a friend the other day. They were like, I'm bitter at everyone and I hate everyone. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. What information do you need to gather? Like, what do we need to, like use it. You don't have to be like, oh, I got to fix it. Or like, I hate like toxic. Like I'm a naturally positive person.
Me too.
But I often get worried like, oh, am I toxic positivity? Like, cause I don't want to be that.
See, but that's okay. That's so much pressure, right? Are we too positive? Are we too negative? Are we realistic? Are expectations too high? It's so much pressure. And I do think there's something worth feeling your emotions, right? Like if you're feeling bitter, feel it for a little bit and then you work through it. But no, that's why I'm trying to honestly answer you about my kind of garbagey week. I'm gonna be here with it, and then I'm gonna, know that things are gonna get better, and I'm gonna spend my evening with you. And so yeah, we should give ourselves permission.
Yeah, we're just needing that.
Feel feels.
I think that we like really try. I feel like everyone just like really tries to like not feel their emotions or like feel guilt about it. Like
guilt.
I shouldn't.
We're so good at feeling guilty.
Yeah, we're good at feeling guilt over our feelings instead of just feeling our feelings and not feeling guilt.
No, you're right. It does.
That made sense.
It made sense. Well, you and I speak the same language.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, I think we're always in a hurry. Oh my gosh, I'm reading a book. You're gonna love it. Actually, I've already read it. So we at work are reading the book. Do you know Trauma Stewardship?
I have heard of it. I have not read it yet.
So we started reading it after looking around and going, oh, I don't think everybody's doing okay. But it's about taking care of people. And I am facilitating the book club, which is a real experiment. But we've only read the introduction so far. We had our first meeting and I basically underlined everything and realized so many ways that I am denying my feelings or using like this exterior as a buffer to be like, no, everything's fine. I'm going to power through everything. I was like, oh, this is a book about me. That's nice.
I feel very targeted.
Yeah. But just like, oh, this is, they know me. And so we, at the end of the book club, this wasn't my idea. This is someone who's much smarter than me, Amanda, but she had us write permission slips in the book. And just for ourselves, and we could share them out if we wanted. And my permission slip was something like along the lines of, I give myself permission to really examine the ways that I dodge my own feelings. Because that is maybe a thing I'm sometimes guilty of. I don't know if you relate with that at all, but I will sometimes be like, no, it's fine. I'm going to keep going. And that's, maybe not the best.
Yeah, I really struggle with that too. Like I definitely, like I'm trying to get better. When I first, so obviously in the last year, divorced, I've been a year living in a separate home. My first home that was like just mine as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And 5 heathens that are messy. But at first there was just like when I didn't have my kids with me, I was so freaking lonely.
Oh yeah. That has to be such an adjustment.
One, I'm super extroverted. 2, I'm always surrounded by people. So like prior to that, like if there was a night that my kids weren't in the home, that was a very weird thing. And I was typically, it was because I was going somewhere or doing something. So it took me months before I would actually like stay home.
Oh, just to absorb you're alone.
Just to be alone, because it was so weird. And I was just like, I'm lonely. I can't do this. I wasn't meant to be alone. And so, but my therapist, she said, can you stop and try and figure out why you're lonely? Oh, no, I'm lonely. She's like, I think it would be worth it to you. And I'm like, okay. And so eventually, like, I realized that, like, I've just been running from this loneliness, right? But maybe I just need to sit in it for a second and be like, why do I feel this way?
God, I'm actually curious. Were you able to get to the root of, I mean, apart from being an extrovert, were you able to get to the root of what made you feel that way?
Well, and I think so for the most part, like just not, so if you can imagine, like, what, my oldest is 10 almost, so like for that span, just never, like, you always had a kid with you or you always had a spouse. And so like, one, it wasn't necessarily like abandoned loneliness, like it was just that I haven't even had a second to like
space.
Like process much. So like, I car ride or like small times here and there, but like just a thought like, oh my gosh, like if I just stayed home this weekend, I would have 48 hours by myself to just
fantasize about that.
Be in my head.
I fantasize about it. But maybe I wouldn't like it as so I am not extroverted, right? So I'm a little bit more introverted. And in my head, I think like, oh, it'd be so amazing to watch just what I want to watch some night. Ooh. And maybe that would be really difficult if it were a more prolonged period of time or if it were more consistent. Because right now it feels like, having an extra scoop of ice cream or something, right?
Right.
And I wonder if it were more permanent and extensive, if I would then be like, oh, I guess I don't like to just sit and read books by myself.
And not that it's bad, but I wouldn't even like give myself a chance to like work through that. I would just be like, I gotta go. And then when I did, and I'm like, okay, why am I lonely? Well, one, it's really quiet.
Yeah.
And but now, like, I mean, I enjoy, obviously, as I said, extroverted. So like, I'm usually pretty busy on the days and like with work, like I schedule most of my out of town stuff for what times when I don't have the kids. So it's very rare that I'm home now, but I try and make more space for that now.
And you're more comfortable in it.
And I'm more comfortable in it because also I am using that time to, well, mostly I just sing karaoke in my kitchen.
Really? Well, okay, this is probably the most important question I've ever asked you. So what is your go-to karaoke song?
Lisa Loeb's Stay.
Oh, of course. Okay, I'm sorry. That just makes so much sense. I don't even know what to do about it. Okay, obviously. Because it's like basically
glasses.
No, of course. So it's like it's three notes and it is so emotional and that makes perfect sense. I love it.
Typically the sad, like my best friend, like if we go out and see karaoke, she's like, you're not allowed to sing a sad girl song tonight. And I'm like, I don't know what I even need to do with my life. And because like I'm just like, I like the really sad girls. Like I like sad girl emo music.
Yeah, you do.
So.
Oh, I love it. Good for you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I feel like, I feel like to kind of, I can bring it around. No, I feel like to kind of like dodge that emotion, right? I was staying busy. And then once I was just like, okay, let's sit in this. And at first it feels terrible. And but then the longer you're like, oh, okay, I don't need. And I think it comes to like guarding your energy.
Wait, tell me more about that because I think I know where you're going with it, but tell me more.
Well, I just feel like I give people, through really any job I've ever had, right? Like I give people a lot of access to me and I am very open and I do a lot of stuff that people have a lot of access to me and my energy and
you're giving a lot.
Yeah. Like I feel like that with almost any job I ever had.
Yeah.
I've always, that human services.
Yeah. You definitely put yourself out.
Yeah. Like I just like
puts yourself out.
I throw everything I have into a situation. And then I like to think I'm not as good at, but then I do that in a lot of my relationships where I'm like, yes, like I've got this. We can do it. And then I think that I've really started to realize lately with being more alone is that no, it's okay to like energize yourself, like to recharge, right? And to not always be like throwing it out there and offering it up. And some people maybe don't, like this sounds selfish, but I don't think it is. But like, I feel like I'm just always like, oh, I'll do it, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I do that all the time.
I know, like I'm always someone, I want to solve this, I want to help you, I want to do this. And then I'm just like drained and I'm like,
yeah,
I want to die right now. And I think, being able to, I've been working on boundaries, set boundaries. I'm terrible at them, but I've been working on setting boundaries.
Good for you. I'm so
I've been working on, like, it's okay to say no. Like, you don't have to do every single thing that someone asks you, and just being able to take time and recharge. And when you're always so busy and you're always like throwing your energy out there, I don't think you have time to process your emotions, to kind of get to, which I think is why a lot of people do it.
I was about to say, so
that's my defense mechanism.
No, totally. So okay, hell, we're so much alike sometimes. So that's totally why I do everything that I do. The other part of it is that I know I do sometimes is I look around and I'm like, but I could do that better, right? And so I'm just like, and I guess I will. And so, and that is, first of all, there's just such hubris in that. And then second of all, like, it really does, it sucks everything out of you. And I also think that I tend toward fixing, right? So my therapist told me again this week, boy, so many wise words were happening in my therapy session this week, but he suggested that he's like, so next time before you just walk in and you're like, okay, we're going to do it this way and this way and this way, because you're robbing other people of the opportunity to solve problems. What? But like, I do it better. But anyway, and he said, like, do something weird that just throws it off and like makes that train jump the track a little bit, right? And so I haven't tried it yet. I was totally prepared to go home and do it with my husband because I solve all problems, right? Of course. And I was, well, we were having a conversation about something and I was just like, well, I'm going to solve this problem. And I was like, oh, but if I jump in and do that, then I'm going to have to do this weird, like, jumping around motion that I decided I was going to do. And I was like, I don't even feel like doing that. It's like, I guess I'm just not going to solve that. So it was really interesting, right? And to identify that within myself and know that that's like a defense mechanism or a way that I'm just pushing against, I don't know, like vulnerability in some way. Like that's an interesting realization. Therapy's awesome.
We love therapy.
Yeah.
I love therapy. I highly recommend it.
Everybody should be in therapy.
And for the record, we are not trained therapists.
Oh, no.
We are not licensed trained therapists.
I think I'd be a really good therapist. I think I'd be a great therapist.
One of the therapists who I respect the most tell me, you should be a therapist. I was like, oh my God, I totally should.
It's like heroin to our little egos.
I know.
Like, I guess I should.
I literally was like, I could go back and get my master's.
You could. You would actually. You would be in bed.
I actually would really love that.
Yeah,
that was originally my first goal.
Oh, you
was to be like in counsel, like I'm in counseling, to be a counselor or something, like a therapist or something like that. That was my original goal. And so my bachelor's is in psychology.
Oh yeah, there you go. You're halfway there.
I discovered disability studies, and then I was like pregnant and had children, and so the thought of like doing internships or like research hours just made me want to die a little bit.
It's a little stupid. And also never leave the field because obviously we need you. But yeah, I could see that being a very good alternative.
Yeah. But I also would love, so if I did, I wouldn't leave the field. So if I did get a master in counseling, right now I'm debating between a PhD in policy administration.
You said PhD and just made me love you so much more.
Or a second master's with counseling, and I would want to work specifically with families.
Yeah.
And other, who either have a family member with a disability or are a person with a disability. Like, I would really want to specialize in.
That's such
how can I help you thrive? Because
that's such a deficit within our world, right?
I've been watching. So all the so much testimony lately, right? Because we have the budget trying to be passed and all this stuff, and there were really great gains for at least the Ohio Department of Developmental Disability. I think they're pretty steady across the Medicaid realm. And it's hard for, I sit there sometimes and you'll see a lot of parents, and it's so hard, and I'm always so careful.
Oh, I love it. That's a fun word.
Very careful.
Careful.
But I'm so careful on how I present my life, right? Or how I present the things I struggle with, or things that are different in our life because I have a daughter with very intense needs. And so, like, I'm always trying to, like, life is different. Sometimes it's hard. But that's because, like, the system that was created is suffering right now.
Yeah.
And, or, we need to work more on community. We need to do this or that. But I watch so many parents, and I just think, just want to give you a pep talk, friend. I'm like, not trying to be toxic and positive, but what I want to tell you is I think like we create such a narrative, and that's why there is such a stigma towards people with disabilities, because it's like,
Oh, because of this?
yeah, because like,
is that too
well,
negative?
it's me. No, like I feel that because they'll be like, oh, just like you're just super parent, or this is like, no, like super mediocre, thank you.
Well, and you get tired, right?
Yeah,
like
and you get
sometimes you're tired, or
sometimes
sometimes you're frustrated about the situation. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I find myself a little bitter. Not very often, but yeah, those are real. So that doesn't mean that you don't experience those emotions sometimes, right?
Right. But to just say like, to look, it's more like looking at parenting from it's like right now we're looking at it from like a medical model, like something that needs fixed. This is wrong. How do we cure? Instead of the social model with like, what adaptations do we need for success?
And what are
how do
our
we get
gifts,
there?
and how we, like celebrate those. There.
And you can also like celebrate like, this person is so awesome. They're just really well. But what really sucks is when they're having this 5-hour long thing happen right here that I'm not a fan of.
Well, and I mean, I think like there is so much strategy behind cherry picking and it is what it is, right? Like this is into politics, right? But like there's such strategy in cherry picking these sob stories, or like the most, like miserable situations to highlight. And of course that doesn't, and I know we're trying to get somewhere, right? We're trying to show a larger picture of our field and where we have need, but those needs in some way that portrayal makes people on the outside, I think, just it makes their thoughts about what we're going through that much more kind of like they're pity, right? Like it's pulling up pity. I kind of hate that. I hate that that's the card that I think people inevitably feel like they need to play in order to get resources,
Do you want to hear something I'm really proud of?
Yeah,
This
please.
is super braggadocious, I feel like.
Oh,
That's how I was testifying in front of the House Finance Committee.
I love you. That's amazing. That's a tough thing.
And I had it all written out. I'd submitted everything. And then I kept watching this testimony, and everyone's like, remember the verse, whatever you do for the least of these, the least you do for me.
I'm sorry, I made a face.
I know, right?
I made a face.
And so, like, I get that verse. I understand the context.
Yeah.
I grew up in a God-fearing home. But at the end, I was like, I have to say something. And I said, I keep hearing this verse repeated to you, but I need to let you know that people with disabilities are not the least of these. And I said, and they might not even be the best of us.
They're just us.
They're just us. They're
just
part of us.
Oh, did you say
And so
that?
I did. I was really proud of myself. I felt so clever, and I don't really know how clever. I was like, if you support people with disabilities, you're supporting families, communities, businesses, our economy, everyone. And then I'm like, let's call it trickle up economics.
Did you just start a new? Did you just?
I use that before. I will. I will. I need like
We're gonna trickle it out.
Trickle it up, man.
So what were you testifying about?
You just the need for the budget and increased wages for direct support professionals. Because
of course, right.
And so I shared like my kid. I'm a single parent household.
Yeah.
If we don't have a DSP, that's hard.
Right.
My other kids maybe don't get to do other things, but they're fine and they understand the importance of community. But we would just like to have just that support.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So I do think that you've been very careful with your story, and I actually love that there's thought behind it, right? Because you could absolutely play the woe is me mom card. And I've never once heard you do that. You celebrate your family, and I even remember the last time that we did this podcast. But you were talking about the Holland thing and how, the story about Holland. You're like, no, I'm in Paris, please. What am I, don't tell me I'm in some weird,
I'm where I meant to be.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that, because I feel like, I watch people default to that over and over, and it really is missing the broader picture. And it does damage, right? Like it does damage to the way that we think about people with disabilities. So how unfortunate. And I love that you say that. And it's funny because I'm probably messing with my microphone here too much, but I'm thinking, sorry, should I? Yeah. Okay. My bad. I'm saying so many smart things. I don't want anybody to miss it.
Don't miss it.
But I feel like, I don't even know where I was going with that. Just, I see that a lot. And it's so unfortunate because really, I know what I was going to say. We're like, so as a county board person, right? I feel like we sometimes are trying to peddle this narrative of like, oh, it's just so hard. Support us because it's hard. And that doesn't celebrate the full spectrum of what the disability world is like, right? I mean, there's highs and lows and ups and downs, and bad and good, and it's just like anybody else, right?
Well, and
we need resources sometimes.
Yes, yeah, we need resources.
Yeah,
but like also, it's a little different, but it's the same.
Yeah,
and these feelings are the same. And okay, we'll get real deep. But
yeah, let's do it.
So my ex-spouse, when we got divorced, he's like, we're just another statistic now because we have a disabled kid, and that's what's happening here. Oh, and I was like.
Or, I'm sorry, I love that. Actually,
but so like it's just like why are we defaulting to this?
Yeah.
Actually, when you're put in extreme situations, it's not. I can't do it. Right? Like I can't do that with you because of the response.
Right.
And not that it was super terrible, but it was not a partnership that I needed, right? So like
I love that you pivoted I think that's again that would be an easy way to look at it, right? Like, well, I guess this all fall apart because we have a child with a disability. That's obviously not the full story,
right? And there's like just so much more. So I feel like we just take these bits and pieces like, well, it's because and that was like another part of like when I was like, my family is not a statistic. We're a family.
Oh God,
and we're just here, and we do need the support. Like this is something help that we need.
Right.
And these are reasons why.
Yeah.
And my kid deserves to have, I do as much as I can for her, but is my care always excellent? Nah, she's my kid. Ask my other kids. Sometimes my care is not excellent. We were just talking about throwing vitamins at them and moving on with our day.
Yeah. Like I said, at least you give vitamins.
I know, right?
Mom of the year.
Excellent
So,
parent.
Well, when you think about what I think we're better. I hope we're better about this across the board. But I do think that county boards have built their reputation and their brand on the pity card, and it's an easy way to get a community behind you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're coming out of Awareness Month, and I love so much of what we see in Awareness Month because it is greater visibility for people that are just so often overlooked. And at the same time, I feel like there are plenty of cases where you look at what is being produced and given like just out for consumption to the public, and it is disempowering. With like some intentionality behind that. Because this makes you feel pity, or this makes you feel like it makes you feel good that you're helping in this situation, right? And that's
look at even. We're gonna have to edit some of this.
We're gonna see a lot of
days. It's so controversial. But look at like even the strategies behind some of the different things that have come out in order to get this budget passed.
Oh no, of course. I mean, we look for the hardest stories.
Let's go with fear. People are going to die if you don't do something.
It's so funny. It's interesting that you say that. I was speaking to somebody else, I won't say who was. We'll have to talk about it later, but she was so put off by this message of like, people are gonna die. And she said, like, where is this coming from? Is it people with disabilities? Because I don't see anybody in here with a disability.
Right.
And this feels a little extreme, right? Like this really is maybe not painting with like the right colors. And I get, so to me, to some degree, like politics ends up just being a game. It's such a sad game. But I wish we didn't have to play it. I wish we could describe need or describe like resources that would be helpful, or let's call it it's need, right? I wish we could describe need without defaulting to this like doomsday, everything is so difficult. It's too bad. It really is too bad.
Like literally to get her even the basic waiver. I had to get this report from like a developmental psychologist and say, oh, of all the reasons her life would be terrible. Oh. And my life would, like, and we had always, you know, like just all these reasons. And I'm like, this isn't, I'm not saying my kid is awful.
Right.
Do I wish she had an easier road of it? Sometimes, yes. Like, she does not, she's such an overachiever and has all the things happening.
My favorite way to describe her. I love that you describe her this way.
But, like, do I wish that she didn't start having terrible brain damaging seizures at 4 months old? Yes, I wish that.
Of course.
But there's certain things I wish, but, like, I don't wish away, like, you know, like, she's great. She's wonderful. We make do, but I don't want to have to sit there and say, like, this is the worst and everything is awful, because say, like, people deserve a right to thrive.
Oh, we deserve. We don't stick to thrive, or like we give it a little bit of lip service when it's safe and convenient.
Yeah.
But we really don't. I don't know. It's not that we don't entirely, but we really do forget that thrive piece. And I love that word because it's something that. So when I get like excited about the idea of inclusion, or you know, just the idea that's like revolutionary idea of people with disabilities having lives that look like mine and yours, right? You know, whoa. But I go back to that thriving piece because it really is just such a good way. It's such an easy word for people to go, oh, it's not just meeting basic needs, right? But that is something that that translates really well to everybody else when you're trying to tell a story.
Well, and it looks different, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, and this is like the biggest thing, like, you know, it doesn't mean, like, I feel like so many people think it means like, okay, this person is actually an introverted person and they don't want to go out bowling 5 times a week and this and that. Like, they actually have a group of friends that they are cool. You know, like, I have friends who, to get them out of the house, like, no disability, but to get them out of their damn house, to be like, hey, it's been like 3 months. You want to come out with us? Well, why don't we just come out with us? Yeah. We miss you. You know, and that's okay. Like, I think everyone has this idea, like, we're so one size fits all. It seems like, no, a successful life means that you go out this many times a week. You don't. I'm sorry. There's some weeks I don't want to leave, and I'm an extrovert. Like, I don't want to leave my house. Or for you, thriving looks different. Like me thriving. Like, there's certain things I do. I don't even know what I was doing the other day. Like, I was just like, I'm thriving. Like, I literally said it to myself.
You're glowing.
Thriving.
Yeah, you are.
And then probably like a half hour later, I was like,
I know that roller coaster. Oh yeah,
that's
intimately
typical.
Acquainted.
It's gonna be great. But like, I don't know. I just feel like, yes, I that is definitely my thing. Like, what does thriving look like for you, and how do we get that? And I do want more than for people to just survive.
Well,
right?
I feel
good.
Yeah, surviving's great.
You just survive.
It's
That's fine.
Right? It's rather important.
Piece.
I feel like I project a lot of my. So for Jay, I feel like I project a lot of what thriving looks like for me onto him, and he is in every way possible telling me all the time, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's cool for you, but like, what's great for me is this. And then of course, like, so part of the rub with me with that is, okay, so you're telling me what you think your thriving is. And I worry so much, you know, we're at this age where we're almost 13 and things are tough. It's always tough at 13, right? But like, I worry that your thriving looks like this because you are different and you feel that difference and you like step back from stuff. And it's hard because I don't know where to separate out, like, this is who you are and this is what thriving is to you versus you think this is you thriving because you're shrinking. Does that make sense?
No, I feel
it's
like
very
that.
Interesting. It's something I struggle with, right? Like, where do I push and then where do I go, okay, well, this is you and that's cool, right? Like, where do I fight a fight for you, right? Like, where do I advocate and want you in a space, and where are you genuinely just like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know where that, you know, in between space is. Solve my problem.
This is my very uneducated answer.
Tell me. You're going to say the right thing. It's definitely going to be right. Everybody who's watching who's like, I wonder what, it's going to be the right answer.
No, I think it's just making sure they have the access and opportunities to any space that they want, and then letting them choose to go there or not.
Yes.
But also, I think it's important, like, sometimes, like, I always make deals with people, but like, when I was working, like I would make a deal, like this is what we do. Like when I ran a community, like we are out in the community.
Right.
We volunteer, we don't touch a building.
We're busy. Yep.
And it's a group. And these groups we make the decisions together. So I want a commitment that you're going to try it 2 to 3 times.
Good.
And then after that, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Nice.
But I need you to give it more than one chance.
I like that. That's meeting in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So let's try it. Let's see.
I'm not making you do it forever.
Right.
But I would like you to give it a fair chance. And like, what is a fair chance? You know, like you can figure that out how best. But I want to make sure that there's access and availability. So you have those 2 things if you choose to do it. And I want you to at least give it a try.
Yeah.
Right? More than once. It doesn't have to be 1 million, but more than once. Because a lot of times our first impressions, you know, we're in an unfamiliar place, we have anxiety, we're not, you know, so there's a lot of stuff that you're working through, like even that first time going, that maybe aren't there the second or third time. So if you can like commit to give me this level of commitment, and after that, that's up to you.
Yeah, I like that. And I think, I have tried to, you know, kind of pick something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what it is, right? But like find the thing that makes you like just feel good, right? And it's funny because I have so many ideas of things that make me feel so good, and none of those are crossover with him. But yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you really don't know that you like or don't like something until you've given it that fair shake. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know.
We've solved the problem.
All the problems of the world are solved. Although my kid, I mean, my almost 8-year-old, I think she's my mini.
I love that.
And yeah.
Gonna give you so much gray hair. Your little mini you is gonna be
already almost completely gray.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, I have to go do touch-ups all the time.
Nice. That's a dignified little thing you have going on. That's amazing.
I've said this for like 10 years that like when I'm ready to just completely go gray, I think I'm just gonna like shave my head and then let it grow back however way.
I will shave my head with you. Awesome. This is my solemn commitment on a camera. I will absolutely shave my head with you. I've always wanted to. Mike's face when I say this is just like, but no, I've always wanted to. I actually think I could pull it off. It's already pretty short.
If I could, because I feel like I used to rock a pixie cut and feel really good about it. But then I feel like I have like this weird like ledge in my head right here.
I think we all have before. No.
I don't remember it.
If you do,
I was just too drunk.
I was gonna say, if you do, we maybe need to check that out. We can swing by like a neurologist on the way. Yeah,
that's good. But anyways, has always been my theory. Yeah. Is that I would like to do. And then if I hate it, I'll just get a bunch of wigs until it all grows back. Whatever.
That is a great idea. So far, I have only... Well, I'm sure I have lots of gray or white or whatever's coming in, but like so far the only place I've noticed it is this eyebrow. I'm just like, well, that's one place to start, I guess. Like it's just like these 3 hairs right here. Like
kills me more than like like I'm almost like if I just let it grow, like I'm like salt and pepper all the way, and my hair is almost black.
No, look, you have a uniform color to your hair. Look at this. Like it's just I mean, it's hideous, but like it's just
I like it.
It's very kind of you.
I
like you can't see it. You're probably staring at me and you're like, Marie, this entire side of you is just like blazing white. How have you not noticed? But I haven't.
Yeah.
But this eyebrow right here.
So the eyebrows to me are like weirder than actual grays.
Oh, it freaks me out.
I'm like, what is
and they're just like so
white eyebrows.
So I don't know. I'm sure this is just going to be the joy of having all white hair come in, but like they're just so they're like so they're just right here. So lazy about plucking. Just like, let that sucker grow out a while.
One of my first roommates was a hairdresser. So she would it was great. She had kids, and that was our exchange. Like I helped with homework, I helped babysit.
Nice.
And she would do my hair for free and like wax my eyebrows, and she'd be like, Sarah, you have the eyebrows of an 87-year-old man.
Oh, wow. What a share. Okay.
I know. I'm like, thank you. It's a talent.
I mean, I feel like mine are almost going away.
A compliment.
Yeah, you should.
So
definitely, that's how she meant that.
Absolutely.
She meant it as like the most soothing compliment.
100%.
I didn't even realize.
All right, what time are we at, Paul? I'm just really excited about going to Levi and Lilacs too. Just also
to where?
Levi and Lilacs.
Oh, is this the place that we're going for the? So I have, in what we can only call like a lapse of judgment, I tried to cut down on my drinking a little bit, which has not been a fun road. And it sucks.
Yeah.
And I am ready to like have so much fun. And I also know tomorrow I am going to feel like I'm going to die. And I have to be in Circleville at 10 o'clock for a chicken talk.
A chicken talk.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Yes.
It's like people getting together at a garden center to talk about their chickens.
I love
I'm a
that.
chicken mom, and I love my chickens. I'm really excited about it. But I'm going to be so hungry. I know it. I'm going to have like a drink tonight. And be like,
I'm also like, basically, not only do they have the eyebrows of an 87-year-old man, I like have the like awakeness after like 8 p.m. of an 87-year-old man.
oh, we're going to disappoint Lisa like nobody's
We're gonna
business.
well, she is also coming back from like a super long vacation.
Yeah.
So I think we'll
She'll be like, hey, well, it's 9 o'clock. And I'll be like, I've been asleep for 45 minutes.
I'm
pretty
actually
excited.
sleeping with my eyes open.
That's right. I'm on autopilot, thanks. That's why we have to get started early.
So we've got to go.
Oh, man. Paul, like,
well, we're
do you
done.
have too much material because it's so amazing?
Paul, just stop making us continue talking.
It's your show.
No, you're good. All right. Well, thanks. Hey, thanks for coming back.
I had so much
We all
fun.
have so much. Like, I think you are one of the highest rated. Is that not true, Paul?
It's just me watching it over and over. No, I'm just joking.
I love the first part where we're just like,
Oh, yeah, we're so cute. We're in our little phones. And we're like, you're a genius narwhal.
you're the light of my life.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I know we just fangirl. It's all the views because we fangirl over each other.
Look how cute we are together. Yeah, that makes me feel really good. I mean, I would want to watch us.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, well, apparently you're in
Delight.
so many people.
Such a delight.
Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for coming back.